Your WordPress site is written in a code language called PHP and uses a database to keep everything organized, like your usernames, posts, your post revisions, and a whole lot of other stuff you really don't think about whenever you sit down to write a post. Now, just like when you drive your car on a regular basis, every now and then you need to get a tune-up on your car so that it continues to run at its best and get the best gas mileage. Well, your WordPress site also needs a tune-up on the database every now and then to keep your site running at its best and loading in your visitor's browser as fast as possible. This video is going to show you how to do a basic tune-up or optimize your WordPress database. Now, before we do anything else, make sure that you have a fresh backup of both your files and your database. There are several ways in which we can optimize our database. I'm just going to tackle one and what I consider to be the easiest way, and that is to log into our cPanel control panel. Scroll on down until you get to the Databases module. Click on PHP My Admin. Then over here in the left column, if you've got several databases, make sure that you're optimizing the correct one. Actually, I would suggest doing this to all of your databases, but for the sake of this video, this is the one I'm looking at here. That's the database for our site here. And over here on the far right corner, let me see if I can squeeze this out a little bit, is the column for overhead. And there should be, like these, nothing in here, because these numbers here represent things that have taken place in these two tables that have left behind remnants or trash, if you will, or overhead. So a quick way to get rid of this stuff or optimize these tables is to come over here next to where it says check all and just click on this link here, check tables having overhead. Can't get any easier than that. It automatically checks all the tables in your database that have overhead, and then in this drop down box to the right of that, click on that, and just out of the scope of this video was a link that said optimize table. Now you can either use that or repair table. The results of either one of those would be the same thing, the removal of that overhead. So now if we come on back to our database and scroll down, you can see that the overhead has been successfully removed and our database is chugging along on all cylinders, nice and smooth. Then just close out our PHP My Admin. Come on back here just to make sure that our site still works. Refresh, and we're in business. Now that's the quick and easy way. Just in case you're wondering, there are plugins that you can install onto your WordPress site that will do a lot of this manual stuff for you automatically. One such plugin is called WP-DB Manager, and you just go to Add New under Plugins. Do a search for WP-DB Manager. This is going to pop up. Click on Install Now, then click on Activate, and then just follow the process of setting this up. But whether you're doing this through the help of a plugin or the manual way, if you will, that I just showed you, in either case, before you do anything, make sure that you have a full backup of both your files and your database. That's going to bring us to the end of this video on quickly and easily optimizing your WordPress database. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. When it comes to speeding up the load time of your WordPress site, one of the ways you can do this is by using what's called gzip. Now what this does is it squeezes all of the files of your site down to a much smaller size and sends that zipped up file to your visitor's browser, and then your visitor's browser then uncompresses it, shakes it out, fluffs it up, and displays your site to your visitor. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how all this stuff works by doing a test to see if my site is properly compressed. Spoiler alert, it's not. And if it isn't, then I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to get it compressed or gzipped. Now first off, let's go ahead and make sure my site is working properly, because we are going to be dealing with some code. And as such, I want to first off say that you need to do a full backup. Let's err on the side of safety. Do a full backup of both your files and your database, just to be on the safe side. And then come on over to www.giftofspeed.com/gzip-test. That'll bring you to this page here. And all we have to do is put in the URL of our website here. Now let's come on back here, copy, paste kind of thing. Copy, paste, click on check. Ta-da! As I had mentioned, it is not enabled. My site is not enabled for gzip. And it tells you here the benefits if it were enabled. And if we scroll on down here, how do I enable gzip? Click here for detailed guide. Well, this gives you a detailed guide of a couple of different ways, actually a few different ways in which you can enable gzip on your site. Most of these ways require you to edit your .htaccess file, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Another way down here at the bottom, which specifically talks about WordPress, and as it says here in the red print, it's not recommended whatsoever. So we have these options here, and if you're not really familiar with what type of server you have, chances are pretty good it's on an Apache server. And if you're interested in making any of these adjustments and you're just not sure about getting your hands dirty making these changes to your .htaccess file, then I would suggest contacting your hosting service and letting them know what you're wanting to do. There's actually a couple of different types of gzip that you may want to find out first which one your particular server provides. Again, that would require a contact to your hosting service. Now, that all being said, let me show you the easy way. Log into your cPanel control panel. I know I should have led off with this, but scroll on down until you get to the Software and Services module, and right here where it says Optimize Website, go ahead and click on that. Now, most cPanel control panels will have this option. If yours does not, or you do not have a cPanel style control panel, then contact your hosting service and tell them what you're wanting to do and ask them about which particular gzip code you would be able to add to your .htaccess file. Anywho, we are in our cPanel control panel, clicked on Optimize Website, click on that radio button that says Compress All Content. Now, don't blink because we're done. Let's come on back to our test and let's see about our compression. It's enabled, all by simply going to our cPanel control panel and then going down and clicking on Optimize Website. That's how easy it is to enable gzip and serve up a much faster loading website to your visitors than if gzip was not enabled. And that's going to finish off this video on using gzip to make your WordPress site load much faster in your visitor's browser. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video will show you how to improve the performance of your website by adding expires headers to your .htaccess file. So what the heck is expires headers? Well, when set up properly, expires headers tells your visitor's browser whether an item like an image or a CSS file can be stored in the visitor's browser for future access, or if the browser has to get that item directly from the server or the source. Now, just to clarify, when I say it's stored in the visitor's browser, the browser actually downloads those items to the visitor's computer, also referred to as locally. Now, for example, whenever you set an expires header for one of these items like the JPG or a PNG image file, then when the visitor returns to the site or visits a different page on that site, those image file types, along with all the other items that we have set the expires headers for, will load much faster because they are already stored in the visitor's browser, and the browser does not have to go all the way back to the server to get those items because they're pulled up from the visitor's own computer. Now, for this to work, you need to be on an Apache server, which most are these days. Also, if after adding your expires headers code snippet, the tests are not showing the expires headers feature being active, then contact your host and ask if they have the expires headers module activated, and while you got them on the line, ask them which code snippet do they suggest you use, because there's quite a few different code snippets, and I'm going to include a lot of them in a copy and paste format along with this video. Also, it's worth mentioning that sometimes a membership or an e-commerce plugin might not play nice with certain settings within the browser caching or expires headers settings, and if this happens, then just contact the plugin's creator and ask them how to get their plugin to work alongside with the browser caching. Now, first off, I want to go ahead and run a test to see where we are in regards to the browser caching, also known as expires headers. Now, this is the site we're going to be doing the testing on, so we just come on up here and refresh just to show that it is working. Now, we're going to be doing the test on GTmetrix, and we can get there by going to gtmetrix.com, and we just enter the URL here and then click on Analyze. Now, this particular site is going to be doing a test for two different tools, that being Google's PageSpeed Insights and Yahoo's YSlow. You can see they're doing it over here, and these are the two different scores. Now, these two services test for different items, and that's why you've got varying scores for the exact same site. So we scroll down here and see for PageSpeed Insights, leverage browser caching, I've got a mediocre score of 74. That's a C. And if we click on this, it gets a little drop down and it tells us a little bit more about it. And if we hover over the "What's this mean" button, you get this pop up here and you can click on the "Read More" to tell you more about PageSpeed Insights view of leverage browser caching. They give you some suggestions and some code snippets to be using. But right here's what I want to point out. For these items that are on my site, these other ones are external links, so I don't have any control over those. But the items that are actually on my site tell you that the expiration is not specified. That's what we're going to be fixing. Now, if we go to "Why Slow," you can see here we got a big fat goose egg, 0, hit total F. Click on the link here, and again, this is for expires headers. I guess that's Why Slow's version of browser caching, tomato, tomato kind of thing. But you can see here that there's a whole lot of different items in here that are external links that I have no control over, but there are a few of them in here that are on my website, that are on my URL, that I may have some control over. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hover over the "What's This" button, come on down here and click on "Read More." And this tells you a little bit more about Why Slow and how they interpret expires headers. So what I want to do, I suggest reading this stuff over for additional information, but what I'm going to do is scroll on down here to the bottom and just copy this code into my clipboard. And they tell you all about how to set things up here. But I'm going to log into my cPanel control panel, go to File Manager, and open up my .htaccess file. Right click, left click on Code Edit. And then at the very top of the page, it's where I'm going to paste that code. And you can see here the different file types and the time over here on the right. Now this time is not set in stone. This is just what Why Slow suggests. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of additional code snippets you might want to use, and I'm going to include those along with this video for you to kind of check out. But you can always adjust these times, but you don't want to go more than 1 year. That's kind of the maximum you want to mess with. Let's go ahead and save this and come on back to Gmetrics, and let's run that test again. And we're done. And under page speed, it upped our score from a 74C to a B, 87. But whenever you go to Why Slow, it's still giving us a goose egg. For some reason, I've noticed that Why Slow does not recognize expires headers as far as that code being entered. And it was even the code that I pulled off of their page. But if we open this up and if we look at the items in here, none of those items that used to be on our URL are being shown anymore. All these items are from external links now. So that's just some kind of a glitch in amongst the Why Slow testing for some reason. So it is working, obviously. So if you just stick with the code that we went with from Why Slow, but if we just use this code here, it will greatly improve the speed in which your site loads in your visitor's browser. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on how to add expires headers to leverage browser caching. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.